Today's episode is sponsored by Taylor Health. Taylor Health focus on an integrative approach and specialise in preventative lifestyle factors that can optimise overall health and well-being. From health coaching, looking at lifestyle and behaviours, functional nutrition, meal planning and recipes, phlebotomy services for health screening for a multitude of reasons including health monitoring, fertility testing, pre and post surgical testing, sports and athletic performance testing and hormone monitoring. They also provide therapeutic venesection for individuals with hemochromatosis and those on testosterone replacement therapy. Let Taylor Health prioritise your health and well-being, and be sure to mention the Jim King Show to receive your discount. You can now click on the link in the description of this video for all services. Thank you for everyone watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
I used to go across the road to the indoor market and I met a lady there and she would be reading tarot. So I used to just skip on the bus off to the supposed leisure centre to spend my pocket money in the indoor market with a tarot reader. So after been studying tarot, that's been 35 years now. I was in Braehead and I went to the Sistine Chapel Museum, which was all the artwork from Michelangelo. And it was when I started studying those pictures that I realised it opened up even more information, especially in terms of religion, because the Michelangelo's work is based on the Old Testament. And then not only that, when I started looking into things, I started realising spring, summer, autumn, winter, north, south, east, west. So the tarot's got all of that information in terms of times, in terms of seasons. And then you've got it's just endless. It's fascinating.
Right, okay, so 8 cards.
Yeah, just when you're ready, but try and get your energy into them all. And just, everything's intention. Oh my. So it's quite funny. You have got the devil card at the end. That was funny. That's the only card you mentioned to me earlier.
Was he like as a guy then, Wim Hof? Because he's obviously an interesting character, known worldwide. So what was your experience with him? What was he like?
Probably one of the best people I've ever met in my whole entire life. And the minute I slid open the door, Wim Hof was standing there himself. And he kind of just looked me in the eye with the most gentle, amazing, loving, kind eyes.
The tarot master herself, Gemma Collins, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
It's great to have you on, Gemma. A massive character. I'm very interested in this subject because I feel like it's a great part of my healing journey. And also it will help so many other people. So before we get right into your story, right, if you can talk me through what's going on in the world of Gemma, the present moment, what's happening with you?
Just back for Jamaica, just come back on Friday there, feeling all refreshed and excited for the future. A lot of meditation, a lot of relaxation and just feeling wonderful.
So give me a wee brief description of the tarot, right? Before we get right back to your early memories and stuff like that, if you can talk me through that now.
So tarot's a really interesting tool. It's basically a tool of divination and it helps you understand yourself and it can help you understand others. Now, the tarot is not what a lot of people think, because a lot of people think it's fortune telling, and it gives you some guidance to an extent. And a lot of people think that it's to do with connecting with spirits and things like that. So it's really not for that at all. What happens within the tarot is it's full of inspiration, positive messages, and it's actually just absolutely amazing to guide you on your path.
Beautiful, Gemma. So now I'll take you back, right, to your early memories of childhood, your first chapter. So if you can talk me through it step by step. Well,
the thing is, I'm not sure if you're allowed to do this nowadays, but when I was round about primary 5, maybe about 10 years old, I lived in a village called Dundonald, and I used to get the bus on my own to Kilmarnock, which was the next town, and I was supposed to be going to maybe ice skating, swimming. They had like play schemes at the time, and I used to have pocket money. So I didn't need go to the leisure centre. I used to go across the road to the indoor market, and I met a lady there, and she would be reading tarot. So I used to just skip on the bus off to the supposed leisure centre to spend my pocket money in the indoor market with a tarot reader, and I became very, very intrigued at that age.
That's crazy, because such a young age.
Yep.
So when you're supposed to be going to these activities, what was your first experience of that then? So your very first time you were drawn to like the tarot lady. Can you talk me through that day? Do you remember it?
I do. I just was thinking, I just thought it was absolutely incredible that somebody could sit and tell you your future, right? Actually using a deck of cards. But I also knew myself, like at school, I knew in terms of personality wise, I knew I was a wee bit different. I knew I wasn't fitting in the way I should be fitting in. And I just felt that there was an element of magic actually. And I had a lot of comfort, I had a lot of magic, I had a lot of times when I would visit this lady. Now, I'm not sure what her name is, but I was visiting her most weeks on the Saturday instead of going to the leisure centre actually.
And that's crazy, isn't it, at such a young age? But so when did you start to get those feelings then that was right for you, that was supposed to happen? Because that's true spirituality, and it's like an energy when you're drawn to these things. And like I said, at only age 10.
So it's only looking back I can think, right, okay, I was drawn in. I loved the stories that she would be telling me. I loved all the information that she was telling me, and she kind of let me know there was more to life than Dundonald or even Kilmarnock or even the leisure centre. So at that age, I would say that I didn't have a clue what I was doing. But looking back, I just think, oh my goodness, that was just opening up. I mean, if you think about it, it was the early 80s. So we didn't have the social media, the internet, the influence that we do have now. So, like, yeah, it's only when I'm looking back I can realise that there was something special, there was something magical, and then I was absolutely drawn to go and see her.
So see, how long did you keep that to yourself then? Did you keep that secret?
I told my Auntie Fiona, so I had mentioned it to my Auntie Fiona, who also went along for many readings herself. So I had told my Auntie Fiona about it, not straight away, because I was using my pocket money in ways I shouldn't have been using my pocket money. But I took my Auntie Fiona along. She was getting readings herself. And then round about 12, 13, I'll never forget the Christmas present she gave me in front of my gran, my papa and the full family, when she had bought me a set of tarot cards and also a tarot book. So, yeah.
So what age were you then?
That was like 12, 13.
And then it just escalated for then? Was that you starting to really learn it and then start to do readings yourself?
So, no, I wasn't doing readings myself. I would probably say that I was reading, I was making reference to the book and I was looking at my cards. I was actually sometimes putting them in my brother's room because he was scared. So I used to sometimes occasionally put the death card on his pillow and things like that. So, I just started. So that was my only source of reference at that point, because at school there would be no tarot books. I didn't have any other reference. And then the lady she just kept taking my money every Saturday and giving me readings. But I only had the book and I only had the cards at that point from 13. And I would say it would be probably when I was much older, late teens into my 20s, before I really started thinking, right, like this is a subject, it's the only subject that's ever interested me in my whole of my school days.
So when did you start to get really advanced in it then, and starting to become that and do the readings for other people?
I remember being on holiday in Mallorca, and then I found a library. And I went and I found a tarot book in the library, and I was away trying, my brain was hungry, my brain was wanting to find out more. And I remember going on holiday, finding a book about tarot, but I kind of started asking at that point, could I get tarot books? And when I became old enough to buy the tarot books, I started, investing in them myself. And then the decks collected, so I've got hundreds of tarot decks that I've had over the years. So I would say that it was from that point. And then when I started working and earning money, I got a mentor. So I went and found a mentor for myself. Bear in mind, we've still not really got the internet at this point, and so I started going for classes every Sunday. And at the time, the investment was £80 for a session. And yeah, I went for a lot of classes, a lot of Sundays to develop myself. And at that point, I wasn't using it at all for like business. I was actually just using it to understand myself.
Amazing, Gemma. So you spoke to me earlier about how people they can misunderstand tarot in a way because it's got a lot more to offer than meets the eye. There's so many messages, there's so many signs there. You spoke to me, was it a museum you went to? Was it Michelangelo?
That was a funny day, yeah.
Can you talk me through that? Because that's really interesting.
So I absolutely can, and this actually only happened a couple of years ago at Braehead. So after been studying tarot, that's been 35 years now, I was in Braehead and I went to the Sistine Chapel Museum, which was all the artwork from Michelangelo. And I turned around to my friend and I says, I can't believe this. Like, this is full of tarot messages. I've never seen that work in my life. Didn't even know about Michelangelo. And I just said, you know, if you want, you can go and do something else. I need to study all these pictures here. And it was when I started studying those pictures that I realised it opened up even more information, especially in terms of religion, because the Michelangelo's work is based on the Old Testament or before. So I just thought, this is really crazy, because he's designed all this artwork. He's painted all these magnificent paintings, and like, where was he getting this information? And actually it was full to the brim of tarot reading. All I could see was the tarot messages. I could see the judgment card in particular at first. I could see that there was Sibyls and there was psychic ladies back in the Old Testament. And I just thought, you know, so that's opened up another area of study for me, because there was absolutely everything from numerology to the imagery to the symbology and to the designs and the stories that are throughout his work.
Unbelievable, because not a lot of people know that. And so how far back did that date then with his work?
So I can find information as far back as the 1400s.
Right.
I'm actually after a Michelangelo tarot deck, if you come across one. So I would really love, it's very, very hard to get your hands on a Michelangelo deck, but there is a Michelangelo tarot deck being designed on that artwork that I didn't know. And it was from that day in Braehead. We just went into a museum, and it's like, who knew? But also, Jim, see, when I go like anywhere in the world, I can see the messages, the hidden messages within a lot of the artwork.
It's fascinating. You also spoke to me how important it is with the elements.
Yep.
Can you talk me through that in detail?
I definitely can. So after studying tarot, so this is like a lifelong studying journey for me. So tarot's got 78 cards in the deck. 22 of them will happen in your life anyway, and then you've got 56 that are split into 4 sections. So the first section, it's the swords, and that's the element of air, and that's all to do with your brain and how your mind's working and all those kind of things. And sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not. Then you've got water as well, so that's all your cups, and that's what to do with emotions, love, romance, and all your emotions that you're actually feeling. Then you've got the fire, and that's your creativity, inspiration. You know, they're real big teaching cards. They're really, really powerful. And then you've got the pentacles, and they're connected to earth, and they're all your materialistic things. So it took me a long time to work it out that actually it was connected to earth, air, fire and water, which was psychology, which took me down another learning route. And then not only that, when I started looking into things, I started realising spring, summer, autumn, winter, north, south, east, west. So the tarot's got all of that information in terms of times, in terms of seasons. And then you've got like, it's just endless. It's fascinating.
So it's all
absolutely fascinating.
It's all connected.
It really is. And it's not only connected, it dates back forever and ever and ever, to every religion, every day, and all time.
You also explained to me as well, because for like a thriving business to really take effect or to get good results, they have to have different types of characters doing different roles. And you gave me like a an example, and you used Sex in the City.
Sex in the City, yep.
Can you talk me through that?
Absolutely can. So when I was probably at the height of my tarot learning, this is before I used tarot for business, I used to watch Sex in the City, and I realised that there's Samantha, Charlotte, Carrie, Miranda. So for example, it's good to understand who you are as a person and then also who other people are. But not only that, when I started really studying those characters, now it doesn't matter what I watch on television, it doesn't matter what movie I watch, I can then identify who's earth, who's air, who's fire, who's water. And in terms of relationships, friendships, teams and, workplaces, everything, it's about getting that mix of people right. Because if you've got 4 Samanthas, it's not going to work. If you've got 4 Carries trying to go camping, it's going to be a disaster. So you need basically the elements of the 4 elements that are there, basically earth, air, fire and water, and it's in everything. So it really helped me understand myself. And then I can identify others.
And you described to me as well that a lot of the top designer brands use that, like your Gucci and Versace and stuff like that. Is that right?
Actually, it's so incredible. Dior have been using tarot forever. Absolutely forever. And then people say to me, I don't know what to get you as a present. And I'm thinking, just type in Dior tarot. There's like a full collection there. Dior have been using tarot for absolutely years and years and years. Gucci, if you watch the film, every time she didn't know what to do, she used to go for a tarot reading for inspiration. Dolce & Gabbana use it. Dior is the main one though. There's been some brands been using it recently for, like in lockdown when they didn't know what to do, they started using tarot readers. And also Louboutin shoes, they use it as well. So a lot of designers use it for creativity and inspiration, and I've personally worked with the Hendrix brand. So that gin brand comes from Girvan, and I've worked with their marketing team in 2018. And it was, what we came up with was phenomenal.
So your business is called Just Ask Tarot, right?
Yep.
Where did you get the name from, Gemma? Because it's an interesting thing.
You just have to ask tarot, that's the thing. Good question. Basically, when I had my tarot cards when I was younger, in my teenage years, and I used to ask my mum anything, or if I had a problem, anything at all, right? My mum used to say, I think you better consult your tarot cards about that. So when it came to naming my business, there was no question. It had to be Just Ask Tarot, and still to this day, whether I take the guidance or not off the tarot cards, everything goes through the tarot. I check it for absolutely every single thing. So that's where it's Just Ask Tarot.
Do you have a website as well, or like social media platforms?
Yep, it's Just Ask Tarot, or if you're looking for me and you can type in Gemma Troon, or you can go Gemma Troon TripAdvisor if you want. So yes, that's where to find me.
I've only actually had a tarot reading once in my life.
Right.
And it was on a spiritual retreat.
Okay.
By this lady, but she knew a bit of my story, and I wasn't feeling it 100%. There was definitely things in there that made sense to me, but it wasn't gripping. So to get that experience from somebody like yourself, I don't know whenever we would do a tarot.
Right now, Jim.
What do you mean right now?
Let's do the tarot reading just now.
You got your cards with you?
Always.
You want to do one live in the studio?
Yes.
When do you want to do it?
Now.
Let's do it then, Gemma. I'm a wee bit nervous, but also I love the thought of it.
So the best thing, Jim, is don't overthink it.
Right.
So because I've put you on the spot today in your own studio, I think we should do it. But what I will say is I'm very different to everybody else, right? So no blame, no shame, no complain, no looking back. We look forward, Jim. We look forward in my readings. And if you were getting a reading from me, which you're going to get, the first reading I like to do for you is what do you need to know right now, right? So it doesn't matter about the past, it's gone. So what do you need to know right now? So we'll do what you need to know, and then we can do what you want to know, or any questions. And the reason I call my little business Just Ask Tarot is because it's so funny, because when my mum came round to the idea of tarot, any questions I had in my life, she used to say, go and consult your tarot cards. So I call my little business Just Ask Tarot because I believe there's definitely an answer in any reading. So this will be interesting.
Well, I'm excited now. So do I need to prepare or anything? We just get ready?
Nope, I just need to get I've actually got 2 decks with me today.
Right, okay.
So I just need to get my decks.
Right, let's do it then. We'll get a change and we'll get a setting for it.
Exactly, let's go. Right, Jim, so these are the 2 decks I had in my bag today. And I feel really excited. So, basically, with the tarot, I'm just going to run over some information. Just relax. So, with the tarot cards, there's 78 cards in the deck. 22 of them will happen in your life anyway, right? That's your life path and your life journey. And then you've got the 56, and they're split into love, creativity, material stability, and basically your mind. All right. But together they connect your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. All right.
Okay.
Now, the reading that we're going to do today is what you need to know, right? No going back to the past. This is for the future. All right. So I'm going to set my intention to do a really good job because we're live. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose, first of all, what deck you want to work with. Both those decks do the very same job. You look really nervous, Jim.
I'm just seeing what one I'm drawn to the light because there's light coming through here.
Right, okay.
And this is the deck I'm picking.
Right, okay, you take
I
that
feel
in
a
your
bit
hand.
vulnerable, you know.
Just relax. And do you know something? You know, tarot's got a bad name, so don't worry. People are scared of tarot.
So
they don't realise that's full of miraculous information.
What do you want me to do?
So I want you to take the tarot deck in the hand. I'm going to do it with you. All right.
Take this deck.
Take it in your hand. Now, I would like you to give it a little chap. Now, see in my head, I see the last person's energy falling out the bottom, and I see this now ready to work for you. All right. Now, what you can do is you can shuffle this deck up. Just shuffle away. Just shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. If any jump out, leave it out. And I just want you to just take a little minute, shuffle away, or if you think you're at the casino, you can do like this.
I'm not as gifted with the cards as you there, Gemma.
So what to do is, right...
Oh, one's fell out.
Oh, right, okay. Give us that over. Right, that's fine. Right, see if you're not able to... If you're not able to shuffle, right, no, hold on, take your time, because this is serious, Jim.
I'm a very serious person, Gemma.
This is very serious. Right, so what to do is just shuffle the cards, get your energy into every single one of them.
I'll shuffle them half deck at a time.
Right, okay.
Because it's easier for me to shuffle.
Right, you do whatever, but you're going to get your energy into them, and then we're going to take a little minute, right?
Right.
And then what I want you to do is I want you to give me out 8 cards. Now, the reason I want 8, Jim,
yes,
is because this is the year 2024. So 4 and 2 is 6, and 2 is 8. But also 8 in tarot's strength. 8 is also infinity. There's no beginning and there's no end. So this is going to be your best and strongest year yet.
So do you want 8 plus the one that fell out the deck?
I want you just to take a little minute. I'm going to be quiet. I know it's hard to believe.
You never answered my question, Gemma.
But you're going to pull out 8 fresh ones.
Right, and what happens to the one that fell?
Don't worry about that.
Right, okay. What are you doing with that deck?
I'm just showing you how to shuffle.
Right, okay, so 8 cards.
Yeah, just when you're ready, but try and get your energy into them all. And just, everything's intention.
Now we're on. There's 1. 2, 3, 4. Getting emotional here already.
I can feel it off you, actually.
6. 7. 8.
Righty-ho. So at the moment, I'm just going to use my psychic powers and my intuition. So my intuition, the way that you shuffled your cards, the way that you chose the cards, yes, at first I was actually sending you I was thinking, right, please relax, please relax, because you weren't enjoying shuffling them. So you weren't enjoying me telling you how to shuffle. So that lets me know quite a lot. But then you went and put them into different piles and different sections, and you put them into order. So just before we even go anywhere, just looking at the body language and just using my intuition, I thought, Jim's actually dreading this. He can't believe it. He's dead nervous. And also he needs everything to be in order. He needs it to be in his own time, and he needs to do it his way. Right? And that's just end it. So don't ever change. Just know that.
No, I've always been like that. Everything needs to be done the way I expect it to be done in my own mind. So I don't think I'll ever change now, Gemma.
No, and even when I was showing you an example of how to shuffle, I was hoping you would copy me, but you didn't, right? So it's your way, Jim, and you have to just own it. All right. So you were a little bit wondering what's going to happen with this card, because you're saying you didn't answer my question, Gemma. And the funny and interesting thing is that one there is the 8 of Pentacles. All right. How many cards did it ask you to bring out?
8.
And what year is it?
2024.
Exactly. Equals 8. All right, this is your year. But what I want to tell you about this card here is 8 of Pentacles is to do with material stability, but 8 is all different things. So that's what to do with procrastination. Your mind's very busy, but you're going to be bringing in money from all different avenues, all different places, all different chapters, but it's all happening. Now, see, just as you put them into 8 piles, Jim, I would like you to get maybe 8 lists, and all your ideas, put it into what list it is and what you're going to do about it. Right? This is in terms of your business and your success. Failure's definitely not an option here, but it's just really busy, and it's how do you put it into the different areas, and every single one of these is going to bring you in money. All right. So your 8 different piles, I would like 8 different bits of paper for your future, right? And then when you get an idea, maybe even use a notepad or something, and when it's to do with one idea, you put it on one page and then another. Ultimately, Jim, what's this card saying? This card jumped out to let you know that it is number 8. You are strong. You are going to get there. And the terms of the procrastination and all these ideas, yes, your Jim King shows a success, but these are all the other ideas, and they're all going to be a success too. But we just need to order the way that you put the cards out. All right with that, Jim?
I'm liking it.
Exactly.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yes, but hold on, because we'll get 8 more cards.
Let's go.
Have you got any wee questions on that one? So that jumped out. That's probably the most important card for you today.
I wouldn't say questions. It was just really confirming. I like to write everything down anyway.
Do you?
And I've got so many different projects and so many different ideas that are so creative. Not just writing it down, but performing these things and putting them into reality. So really, it's mad how that fell at the deck, but
so it's all going to work out. In fact, this is building a long-term future. So this feels slow but sure wins the race, but this is your year. And if you feel at any point that you're just thinking, oh, just remember 8, just get back to the strength, right? And actually, if you want to study tarot, the strength card's number 8. But it's quite funny because see, strength and confidence, it's a practice. So just keep it up. And don't forget yourself, because that card's all happening. Anyway, on to your chosen cards. Righty-ho. These are exciting. Oh my. So it's quite funny. You have got the devil card at the end. That was funny. That's the only card you mentioned to me earlier when we were setting up this table.
I thought it had a different meaning until you told me what it was. Now I'm quite chuffed, you know.
Right, okay, so what I want to do with this reading is I'm going to just run through the reading very, very quickly, and then I'm going to go into each card, all right, because I know that we're on a time limit today.
There's no time limit for you, Gemma.
Right, okay, 4 of Cups in a reverse position is actually kind of bored emotionally, right? So in terms of like hobbies, interests, like what's happening, right? So yes, business is fine. Business is, you're getting there, you're on the path, everything's wonderful. But that 4 of Cups is just like thinking, right, what am I doing for my leisure? What am I doing for my pleasure? Maybe wanting to get a wee hill walk, maybe back into the cold water. Just do something that's going to tick that box, all right? So the 4 of Cups, basically that's to do with emotional boredom. That's your element of water. So what's making your heart sing? Is it a singing lesson? Is it a sword fighting class? Is it something like that, right? Is it maybe a martial art? All right, so this one here, in terms of what do you need to know? So don't forget, this is what you need to know. So this one here is wanting to emotionally look at something, and I think it's more down hobbies. All right. Now, the next one that follows that's the Emperor, and that's amazing. You're the boss, we already know that. But the Emperor takes ownership, he takes control, he doesn't forget himself. And I would like you to study the Emperor actually, because that's a really powerful card. But not only that, the Emperor becomes a leader. Right, so in that I'm wanting to lead, I'm wanting to teach, I'm wanting to guide, I'm wanting to set an example, I'm wanting to show, and I'm wanting to take it forward. But you've put the work in, Jim. So the Emperor's for you, and that's who you're going to be. So don't forget that. All right. Now, interestingly enough, we've got the Tower after that, right? Now, in Queen of the South, this card appears, and in horror films, this card appears. And do you know why it appears? Because it looks terrifying, right? But the good thing for you is you've actually pulled it out in the reverse position, which means that everything that's going to happen, all the stuff that you feel's been pulled away from under your feet, it's all in the past now, and we're still building. When people get the Tower out, it's like changes that have come out the blue. They didn't expect it. So when we talk about the Tower card in tarot, the imagery is scary. It looks like the end of the world. It looks like the world is absolutely just crumbling down about you, and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to sort this? But ultimately, when you build the Tower again, it's not just a tower, it's a castle. So it's on reverse here. So that means that it's all in the past and we're still building. Right, so don't forget to get your cement and your bricks and get cracking on. All right, now the Emperor is showing you your true character. You've always been that character, and whatever's been pulled away from you, it's actually quite good. We might have to select that past, so it's all feeling wonderful. Eight of Swords is restrictions, all right. Now, when you're restricting, that could be restricting yourself. That could be, if you look at the sword, that's the element of air. The element of air is to do with your brain. So this is even a question on this card. Is this card even real? Because we know, I'm going to reference Dr. Joe Dispenza, but we know that your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So when you've got the Eight of Swords, I've got to go, are you restricted, Jim? Really, are you? Come on. Let's go. So that's all your restrictions or perhaps excuses. So what do you need to know for the future? Basically, don't restrict yourself. Six of Swords feels like, oh, I want to run away actually. So don't do what I done and just go to Jamaica there. Just out the blue, no problem. Basically, Six of Swords looking at travel, looking at movement, but it's in a reverse position. So that one there's want you to sit at peace just now. Right, and keep working on your Eight of Pentacles, which is up here. But this one's all to do with movement over land and overseas, and there's going to be plenty of time for that. And there's going to be a calling for you, and I don't know whether it's Ireland or Arran, wherever it is, but it's over land, it's oversea, but it's not wanting to go just yet. So it's wanting to sit tight. So no running away at the moment. All right. Temperance card in reverse. That is just, yes, we all say, oh, we've got a spiritual practice, but do you really? Are you doing your meditations? Are you doing your spiritual practice? And are you believing in yourself and the higher powers? So the Temperance card's wanting to look at the balance and what's actually happening, and it's wanting you to get back to your spiritual practice and yourself, no matter what. All right. Now, it is a feminine card, and it is about connecting with the feminine as well, and it's about connecting with the divine. So that there's a very, very psychic and spiritual card there.
I actually prefer the feminine energy anyway, Gemma. That's why I've got loads of female friends and hardly any male friends.
Oh my goodness, well, I prefer male friends.
Well, there we go. That's why we're pals, maybe.
Exactly. Right, on to the world. The world is upside down now. The world card in tarot is basically the world is your oyster. Usually when I see the world upside down, I'm off to Australia. So this is your reading, not mine. So basically what's happening with the world is there's plenty to see, there's plenty to do, and the world is just going to be there for you to take. All right. Now, it is upside down just now. I'm going to probably say for your reading, Jim, I think that's a time thing. And the most interesting card we've got for you, Jim, is the Devil, and that's all to do with your desires, your fantasies, absolutely everything. That's quite a sexual card, Jim, but it can also be an obsessive card. So what to do is just embrace everything in a healthy way and just own it, basically. There's nothing wrong with the Devil card coming out in tarot. It's actually quite a wild time.
I was worried about that, but obviously it's got a different meaning for you. What I actually first thought.
So in terms of tarot, right, the Devil can actually mean actually addictions, it can mean obsessions, it can be unhealthy, right? But it can also be very, very healthy depending on the cards that's surrounding it. The cards that are surrounding it are wanting you to look at the world as itself, and like not just your immediate area, it's also wanting to look at your spirituality as well. So that lets me know that it's more actually in terms of your fantasies actually. So to summarise this reading, right, for what do you need to know? You need to know that you're definitely on the right path, Jim. We might be needing to get some hobbies and interests. We are going to be the boss. We are going to own it all. You're still building your castle and you're still building your future. You're going to have to work really hard sometimes though, because your 8 of Swords and your 8 of Pentacles is coming in. So that's an element of air and also earth. So that's in terms of your material stability and goals. And sometimes you might question that. Please don't, because you're going to have it all anyway. The 6 of Swords is travelling, movement. Yes, you are travelling. Yes, you are moving. You may be going on tour or something like that. And the Temperance is wanting you to get back to your prayer or your spiritual practice, whatever you believe in. The world's yours to take, and just to embrace whatever desires or fantasies come your way, Jim. So, pretty exciting reading here. So I would probably say that you actually know all this. It's just reassuring through the tarot.
I think you tapped on something with the devil as well, with addictions. I think I've got a lot of healthy addictions, but I also have a lot of unhealthy addictions. But none of it is alcohol or drugs or the ones that used to control my life. But more, the unhealthy ones can be overthinking, procrastination.
So that's already on your 8 of Swords and your 8 of Pentacles.
But also the healthy addictions and obsessions that have drive and consistency and always showing up. Do you know what I mean? I've got this mad, crazy personality where I don't quit and I'll never stop. As long as I'm still breathing, I keep moving, you know what I mean? So
this one here is saying, yes, you are saying that, but it needs to feel it and believe it all the time. And then just get back to it. These cards are still on a journey. What I would say is very interesting is in terms of major cards, your Devil card's major, your World card's major, your Temperance card is major, and your Tower card is major, your Emperor card is major. So these are all major things. So these can relate to any area of your life, right? So see, if you look at the minor parts, it's very well balanced, but there's more time spent in your head with the element of air. So I've got 2 here that's giving me the element of air. So that's all to do with your restrictions, and that's wanting to run away, right? Maybe even run away for yourself. It doesn't have to run away actually. But that one there is giving me 2 elements of air, 1 element of water and 1 element of earth. So that's letting me know that we need to watch what's going on with our head and just keep focused and keep working on that. So, any questions at all for your tarot reading? Because that was quite miraculous. And see to get 5 major cards out of 8 that we chose. Basically, 1 jumped out anyway, but we've got 9 cards. But see, like, so that's telling me that basically it's really quite interesting, because you're working hard, and when you finally get to where you need to go, you'll have really, really worked for it, and you've really learned, developed, and you're going to end up teaching and developing others.
No, it's great. It's a great reading. But to be honest with you, I'm not surprised, because I knew that anyway. And I'm not saying that I'm saying it in a positive way. It was a beautiful reading, but I feel like I know I've got work to do and I know I've got restrictions, but it is all in my own mind. And you find that the power in believing in yourself and putting the changes in, the positive changes. Do you know what I mean? Every day, sticking to it. That's the key. But we don't always do that. Do you know
exactly.
what I mean?
And see, even although I'm reading everybody's tarot every day and I'm doing loads of tarot readings, I'm the same as well. So I have to keep committed, keep focused, and just reassured, and, you know, keep on my path as well. So I've certainly not got all the answers. And even although I just ask tarot, when I do a reading for myself and then I say, oh, I don't really like that one, and then I'll do another one, and then I'll do another one, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, it's just about keeping connected and just keeping focused, and not forgetting that you are the Emperor, that you didn't copy me for my shuffle, and you just done your own thing, and just embrace that.
What card fell out again? The
one that fell out was the 8 of Pentacles.
Right.
So that's was all to do with, that's actually a big material stability card. It's to do with procrastination, it's to do with ideas, and that's probably money coming in from 8 different places. But remember, it's year number 8, and then you've got the 8 of Swords with the 8 of Pentacles. So if you were to look at those 2 cards, that's in your head, and that's your procrastination in your business and your money and your material self. So it's just about keeping them balanced and getting back in and going, no, this is my year. But I did feel earlier on that I wanted you to start noting things down and putting it all into chapters and sections, and what do you need to do. And every time you get an idea for that subject, you put it in that box. I feel as if I wanted massive order, just the way you pulled your cards.
Listen, I really enjoyed it. Is there anything else you want to add to it? How do you think it went?
I think it's funny because I didn't think you were bored, if you know what I mean. And I'm thinking, right, how can the Emperor be bored, right?
Well, sorry, on you go, finish.
That was the only thing, and I'm thinking...
Well, that kind of makes sense, this card, right?
Right.
Because I wouldn't say I was bored with the stuff that I'm doing every day.
No.
But I'm not making time.
Emotionally.
I'm not making time for myself to be doing the things that I enjoy, going out into the forest, going mountain climbing, getting into the water. Do you know what I mean? Connecting with like-minded people that like to be free in nature, switching off being in the studio, switching off social media, because I'm so hard working. I work every day. I don't stop, like I said, and I never will, but I need to make time for myself.
Exactly.
And I think that's where that card sticks out. So I wouldn't say I was bored, but I'm not really...
That's emotional boredom.
Aye, I'm not tapping into my hobbies.
Exactly. And then see the Temperance, that one's really nice as well. So that one there's more spiritual, like in terms of your spiritual practice. I'm thinking, come on, that's quite a feminine card. Spiritual practice, connected to your higher powers, and you know you are. So it's going like that, right? How come you fell away? What's happening? And it's wanting to just look back at the balance there.
Beautiful, Gemma.
Amazing. I loved it.
Oh, thank you very much.
I know, I'm absolutely loving it.
Is that it finished?
Well, unless you've got any other questions.
No, I'm quite happy with that. I really enjoyed it.
So let's just say, for example, you came to me for a tarot reading and you felt a bit lost or directionless. This would get you back right on track and reassure you.
Well, you were amazing at doing the reading, and highly recommend it for anyone watching. Well
and
done.
it's quite funny because usually I can find one direction that you've to go in, but see, because there was 5 majors, that's like all major. Like it's like every direction for every area of your life. So if you were to section yourself down and think about your house and your home, it's wanting you to be making changes there, if you like. If you were thinking about your job and business, it's wanting you to be adding to what you're already doing, and all these procrastination thoughts, it's wanting to build for your future. If you were to think about your, your mental health self, it's wanting you to really get back to your spiritual practice, your hobbies and your interests. And then if you're looking at your creative self, it's just filled with creativity as well. So absolutely every area. So yeah, loads of potential and really exciting. And it's just about getting it in order. So if you just go back to the very first part, again, that was mostly your reading. Without even looking at your cards, that was your reading.
Well, thank you, Gemma. It's been an experience.
Thank you. And not scary at all?
No, I'm ready for another reading tomorrow. I'm only kidding. I'm sure we'll get another one. But thanks again, right?
No problem.
We'll move into the part 3 now.
Okay, thank you.
Gemma, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you.
I see we've both had an outfit change, and you're also wearing your Wim Hof Method Instructor outfit.
Yep.
Can you briefly talk me through what the benefits are of Wim Hof, his methods, the breathing, all these things that go on in these workshops?
Yes, I can. So basically, I feel so proud to represent Wim Hof for the world. So I've got my kilt on so that everybody knows I'm Scottish. And then I've got my Wim Hof t-shirt on, which I'm very, very happy and proud to wear. And the benefits are, so basically with the Wim Hof method, there's 3 pillars. So the one's the breathing, the second one is your cold exposure, and then your third is the commitment. And all the pillars are just as important, but combined together, they really have so many benefits. Although you can do the breathing, you can do the cold water, basically you need to be committed, but you can do it, they've both got the benefits. So ultimately the benefits are endless, like seriously endless. But you've got reducing inflammation, you've got anxiety, if you've got anxiety, depression, many health problems, health complaints, basically the Wim Hof Method is the answer for a lot of problems, and it's just about getting back to nature and just understanding, and as Wim says, letting the body do what it knows what to do and how to do it. So so that's the Wim Hof Method.
It's brilliant, Gemma. So I'm going to take you back a wee bit into the story now, right? Mm-hmm. Why were you drawn to Wim Hof? Where did the story start? What connected you towards that type of healing process?
Okay, so I am a spiritual healer, and I'm a qualified spiritual healer, and I practice everything. So I know about different healing techniques in theory. So I know about them all. But what happened was I lost my mum and my best friend within 12 weeks, and I genuinely couldn't cope. Like, I couldn't cope at all. My anxiety was through the roof, grief, depression, guilt. It was really terrible. So I went and climbed the cobbler, actually, with my friend's son. And when I had finished climbing the cobbler, now this was before lockdown, because the Wim Hof Method and breathwork and cold water therapy became very, very popular recently. But this was before lockdown, and after climbing the cobbler, I thought, I'm going to just try this cold water therapy. I didn't know about the breathwork at that time as such, but I just went straight to the Glen Falls in Dalry. And I met a man, luckily on the way up, and he was in the army, and he says, yeah, we do this for endurance. Like, he didn't think I was crazy at all. In fact, he took me up and showed me where to get in the waterfall. So when I get in the waterfall at that moment, it was the only time I felt still, I felt present, and I just thought, I just felt inner peace. And from that moment, I then started studying, and actually when I went into lockdown was probably one of the best times for me, because I found new tribes of people and I had found a new method. So that's where it came from. Grief, despair, I would say.
So see, when did you first start making contact then, thinking, right, I know a bit about the Wim Hof Method, when am I actually going to start to sign up for this course, or how did that come about?
So after I've climbed the cobbler, right, I just knew I still didn't feel very well, and I knew I had read a Wim Hof book, and basically I was given that as a present from a mutual friend. And when I had come out the water, so I didn't know about the breathwork, remember, so when I came out the water I thought, right, I need to understand, how does this work, how can I be safe doing this, because as I say at the time, nobody else was doing it. So to be honest, it was just kind of learning. Like, I was kind of watching, looking at YouTube, looking at social media, researching the different, like, what's the benefits, because I genuinely did think it was all about the cold water at that point, and I didn't think it was to do with the breath. So I would say it was from 2019, 20, 21, 22, I was just learning, and I was more intrigued, and I was looking at other methods as well. I was reading other breathwork books, and there's many others out there. I read them all, and I was just studying. So really it was just, I just wanted to feel better.
So when did you actually make the leap then? What year was it?
That's right. Okay. So, so when did I take the leap? I would say that in 2023, I decided, after I lost my job, I got an email out of the blue on the 23rd of February. Just, you've got no job. That's it. But already in that job, there was a particular woman that was actually bullying me quite badly. And there was also a man bullying me quite badly, and probably the reason that I couldn't answer your question there is I try not to think that even happened to me. I'm so disgusted, right? And it was just when I lost my job, and I finally thought, right, that's it. I'm away to actually go into the Wim Hof Academy, learn how to do this. It was just to cope for myself, but I wanted to qualify to let everybody else know. So 2023, I started all the study after February. I qualified in December, and then now we're in 2024, and I'm just now sharing the method and sharing all the teachings with the world. So yes, it's fairly new.
Talk me through actually going to, whereabouts was you based, Wim Hof?
Okay, so when I met Wim Hof for the first time, I went for the weekend with him. So I had just booked on his course. It was quite expensive, but I went to Stroh, right to his house in Stroh, and I went there. It was for the full weekend, and we were doing loads of meditation, loads of breath work, and what I can tell you is the experience was phenomenal. It was like the best experience of my life. In fact, my voice is probably shaking even talking about it. So I went to Stroh to spend the full weekend with Wim. I was getting taught by Wim, and we were doing the meditations, we were doing the breath work, we were doing the cold water, we were doing saunas, and it was just having a full weekend right actually at his house. And that's when I met the world. And that's when I met the most amazing connections I've ever met in my life. And yeah, that was basically 2023, just after I lost my job.
But was he like as a guy then, Wim Hof? Because he's obviously an interesting character and known worldwide. So what was your experience with him? What was he like?
Probably one of the best people I've ever met in my whole entire life. He's actually very gentle, very, very... he likes to play, he likes to get back to like childlike energy. He's actually got so much love, and he was just, when I arrived at 10:10 actually. I'll never forget, because the workshop started at 11 and I was really early. And I remember looking at my clock and I thought 10:10, and I thought, right, good numbers. And the minute I slid open the door, Wim Hof was standing there himself. And he kind of just looked me in the eye with the most gentle, amazing, loving, kind eyes. And he wasn't even surprised. He was just like, oh, come away in. And I was one of the first to arrive, because it didn't start till 11 o'clock. But I was one of the first to arrive, and it was actually himself personally that gave me the biggest, warmest welcome ever. And that was the first moment I met him. Then when the workshop started and he came in with the drums and everything like that, and he came in and he was like kind of dancing around just the way you see him on the television, full of nonsense actually, and then he just get right into like leading some breath work, and that was also one of the most phenomenal experiences of my life.
So see the cold exposure?
Yes.
What was that like? Was that you doing that for the first time at that level, obviously with the master himself?
Yeah, so what he done was, after we were doing meditation breath work for a good 50 minutes, right? We were all on another planet. Well, I certainly was. But what happened was, when we actually went outside, right, you've got to climb up these steps onto like a kind of, he's in his garden, he's got like a plunge pool, if you like, and you've got to go up the steps, stand on the top and just jump. And actually I had never jumped off anything in my life before, ever, right? I thought we were going to go into the cold tub and go into ice. No. At first he takes you out and he's shouting you on, cheering you on, jump, and I'm not jumping, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And the more I was thinking about it, it was like actually a nightmare. Anyway, I eventually jumped, went down, the water was absolutely freezing, and then back up to be welcomed by Wim Hof himself, who was like full of cheer and happiness and just joy, absolute joy.
It's mad when you describe him like that. It's like you're saying he's got this childlike energy, because that's a really important thing to have as well, when you get to into adulthood and that, because a lot of people lose that, and it's always great to stay in touch with your inner child. So obviously he's mastered that as well. But
Yep.
So you've been through all that whole experience, meeting Wim Hof, doing the course, the stories that you're telling me there.
So
what about your...
sorry, Jim.
No,
sorry,
you go,
Jim.
sorry.
Sorry, I didn't do the course at that point. I just spent the weekend with him.
Right, okay.
When I was in that weekend, there was a room, say, with 60 other people, and these were all kind of doctors, professional people. They were intrigued and curious people. They were magical people. And, you know, it was when I was talking to all these other, you know, people that had travelled the distance to go and spend the weekend with him. So once we'd spent the weekend, we done the jump, then we also went into the ice, cold water. There was drums, there was dancing, there was the horse stance. He wasn't explaining too much about any of the processes, because Wim Hof says feeling is understanding. So basically we had a lot of fun, a lot of connection, a lot of energy, and it wasn't until I came off that weekend with him I decided that I wanted to be an instructor, because I was so inspired by not just Wim but the instructors that were in that room that day.
So when did the course take place then?
So it was when I came back off the weekend with him. I looked into signing up because I had lost my job. I was also devastated about losing my job. I didn't even imagine that I would receive an email. I received an email at like 11 o'clock at night, right? So I just thought there's only one job for me, and I need to be a Wim Hof instructor. I've never felt so passionate about anything in my whole entire life. So I basically signed up there. It was a lot of money. It used every single part of my savings. But I remember reading a Hilary Devey book many years ago, and you need to go fully in, as Wim Hof says. And I just went all in with every single penny I had to become an instructor. That's what happened. And yeah, I went out training into Poland, which was like minus 16 degrees or something. And he puts you through your paces. It's very intensive training. And you also have to know a lot of science as well. So you go out and you have to be able to demonstrate all your areas. So you really have to know the science. There's a lot of case studies. There's a lot of science been done. So you have to know the Wim Hof story itself. You have to know all the science and all the case studies that have been done throughout the world and all the research for all the medical solutions. You have to be able to demonstrate. I had to lead and guide a team of 18 people into a freezing cold waterfall. Then I had to come out, do horse stance, and then do it again, and then come out, and then do it again. So 3 times they put us. It was really intensive training, actually. So, yeah.
So talk me through, I know you've got that experience now, and you're helping so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
You've also setting up your own workshops.
Yep.
Talk me through that then. So what do you offer in them?
So it's not my own workshops, it's basically Wim Hof workshops.
Right.
So I've got my breathing classes that happen. So I've got my breathwork classes, which is basically breathwork, and you can do the cold water if you want it. And I'm working with corporate clients just now, so I'm going in and doing wellness days. Some people are, doing the breathwork, some people are doing the cold, but I'm teaching the difference. But also the main thing that we're doing just now, when you're in your first year, you're on level 1. And you have to be doing fundamentals, it's called, whereas you've got to be teaching the science, and you've to give a little bit of information, and you have to talk people through whatever's relevant, whether that be menopause, whether it be inflammation, whether it be metabolism. So you have to know all the Wim Hof studies and make it appropriate to who you're teaching. And the fundamental classes are usually around about 4 hours. So that's what you've got to do for your first year before you move on. So you have to do at least 10 of them. So I'm doing a combination of both. The breathwork classes are very popular. But what a lot of people are not realising is that when I look on social media, people are getting in the water, and you're supposed to go in the water calm and controlled. And there's a lot of people I can see hyperventilating, and they're doing all this kind of stuff, and they're like, it's maybe not even safe. So there's a lot of safety, and there's a lot of teaching, because you can change your blood, you can change everything up, you can change your mind, your body, to be able to embrace the cold. So it's educating people, teaching people, but I'm also just doing the simple breathwork classes, because that's a lot of enjoyment from that as well.
Brilliant, Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
See, before we finish up on this episode,
yes,
if you have a beautiful message that you can send out to the audience, now is the time.
Right, so the message that I would like to send out to absolutely everybody is, if for any reason at all that you're just not feeling tip-top, then I would suggest a private one-to-one session with myself, or come to a class, or come to one of the workshops. But I would recommend the Wim Hof method to absolutely everybody and anybody. And sorry, I know it was one, but the other thing is, I would love if anybody's having any retreats or any weekends, then they would get me in just to teach the Wim Hof method, so that I can teach the science, show the breath work, lead them into the cold water therapy, and just be an absolute expert in my field, and do and deliver what I know I was born to do.
Beautiful message, Gemma.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I know you'll go on to do amazing things and help so many people, so well done for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.